Greetings, listeners. It's your Destiny Pusher, Mrs. Cynthia Williams-Bey, and it's time to push through on this Fighting Friday so you can be restored and sprung forth into your destiny. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Williams-Bey Radio Show here on 101.3 Rejoice FM, and we're also on Facebook Live, YouTube, and we're now on Spotify. I am your host today, Prophetess Cynthia Williams-Bey, and it is Fighting Fridays, and it is time for you guys to embrace who you are so that way God can restore you and spring you forth into your destiny. How many of you guys are excited on this Friday? I know I am. It has been a crazy week, right? We all have that, but we are here today to encourage, inspire, and equip you guys, all right? So please make sure that you, one, share this broadcast, all right? Share it. Two, I need you guys to drop in the comments and let me know where you're tuning in from. I just appreciate all of my supporters from all over. So just hello to you all. Hello. But I'm just really excited about the guest that I have on today. But before I bring her in, just remember, guys, also, listen, there is no charge when I bring these wonderful guests on here. They come to just give you guys so much nuggets, some inspiration, tangible tips and strategies to help you propel and get to the place that you need to be in God. So please consider partnering with us and allowing me to continue to push this vision forward, the vision that me and my husband started. And you can do so by going now and just sowing a seed. It doesn't matter the amount, just anything will help to continue to push the vision forward. And you can do that via Cash App, and that is $ Williams-Bey Radio Show. Again, Cash App, $ Williams-Bey Radio Show. So without further ado, guys, I have my wonderful guest, Andrea Starr, that is joining us today, and I'm just really excited about her. So come on, help me give her a round of applause as we welcome her on the show.
Beautiful. Hi. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, thank you for coming. Isn't she so beautiful, guys? Look, and we're matching.
Yeah, we planned that, right?
Yeah, we planned it. Yes, wow. Man,
it's good to see you, and I'm really happy to be here.
Yes, I'm excited to have the opportunity to actually sit down with you, because guys, you know, Andrea and I actually interviewed before, and it was literally the day before Andre passed away, and our interview never aired. So when we were talking about everything, he was checking in on me, we realized, like, wow, like this tragic accident happened and my life just was completely turned upside down. And you've just been so supportive, you know, even beforehand. And we was just like, okay, we just have to get together.
Absolutely.
And just talk.
Everything has just been surreal.
Yes.
And life altering.
Yes.
100%. And you have handled yourself with such amazing grace and dignity. And I've always had so much respect for you, but just for what you've continued to do, for the message that you continue to deliver, for the work that you continue to do to support the community and beyond, is inspiring, motivating, and is really important for people to understand how important what you're doing is and the impact that it has on so many people. So thank you for being my friend, and thank you for all that you do to be a friend to others and support others. And you just need to keep it going.
Yes. I love you. Thank you.
I love you.
And that just brings me to why you're here, and why we were interviewing before, because it's my story now. And look, I'm losing earrings, but it's okay. We're going to keep going.
You are stunning.
Right? But that's what I loved about you, because prior to me being in this situation, you already work with women that this has happened to. Can you tell the audience a little bit about your foundation and the work that you do for moms and dads?
Yes. So I am the CEO of Forward Foundation, which is a nonprofit that is dedicated to assisting single working parents, both mothers and fathers, that have encountered some type of life-altering event.
Yes.
So that could be the death of a spouse. It could be illness, divorce, long time, or extended litigation, a lot of mitigating circumstances that can contribute to that happening.
Yes.
And the goal with the foundation is that we are able to step in and offer not just community support, but financial assistance towards childcare subsidies, and education. The education is key, because when something happens in your life unexpected, many times, not always, but many times, the person that is no longer a part of your life is the one that has handled the finances. And being able to understand what you need to understand as far as how much money needs to be coming in, what do I need to keep doing to manage what we currently have, and continue to allow that to grow. What do I need to do to make sure I don't lose my house and am able to have health insurance for my children? I mean, day-to-day things that we take for granted. That have typically been managed under a two-parent household. Not always, but many times is. And so before that becomes catastrophic and you're in a situation where you can, potentially lose your house, or, you're worse, so many different things that fall into that category. That's where Forward Foundation can come in and offer the guidance and the resources and the tools that are needed to help get you through that period of time. And, when you and I were introduced to one another, it was because of your childcare facility. It was because of Heaven Sent. And I had a connection that heard about what it was that we were doing, and what makes it so unique in connecting with you is you are the only childcare facility that offers extended hours. And for families that are flying solo, many are working multiple jobs, as you are. And it isn't always a 9-to-5 job, and they still need childcare. So it was so important to meet you and talk about what it, bring awareness to your facilities and your award-winning facilities.
Yes, award-winning now, guys.
That's really important to know. That there is quality childcare that is out there and available to you if you need extended hours. So Forward Foundation really is, again, resources. How do we connect families to the educational pieces that they need, to the childcare facilities that are going to be, align with what it is that they're looking for. And then the community support, which is just so important for individuals to know that you're not alone. It feels like you are, but you're not. There are a lot of people out there that are in the same circumstances or similar circumstances, and just knowing that they're a phone call away or a text away, or you can meet them for coffee, really does make all the difference in the world. So those are the 3 areas that the foundation encompasses.
Yes, and that's what I love, because even when I share my story, right, some people, when they go through grief, they may not, express it outwardly, But I know for me, it was important for me to do that. And that was the unction I felt that God wanted me to do, like just with my life in general. He's always had me go through different circumstances so that way I can help someone else, you know. And I just remember as a single mom just not being able to find childcare and being in a position where it was just like, okay, me and the dad, we're not going to get married. We're not going to have a relationship. So I really need to, you know, build my village to ensure that I'm able to work and provide for my son. And that's what essentially helped birth Heaven Sent Childcare, because I found that in Richmond, Virginia, there's like, it literally is a childcare desert, guys, right? And we already know because of the pandemic, it has shed so much light on the broken system of childcare and how much it is not accessible in certain areas and certain demographics, and especially to some single moms who have to end up leaving their children with, you know, companions and family members, which we all know isn't always reliable because those family members have to work too. And, you know, a lot of our grandmas and great grandmas, like they've transitioned and they're transitioning. And, you know, the grandmas now are a little younger and they're not going to, they're like, you had this baby. They're not like our older grandmas that took them in.
Are still working.
Yes, they're still working too.
They're still working. And I think one thing that's really important to mention is that for a single parent, as we're talking about childcare and accessibility, as a single parent, on average, 34% of their household income goes towards childcare expenses. 34%.
Wow.
And so think about that number. And, you know, that is the second largest expense that a family faces.
Yes.
The first being obviously housing.
Yes.
So there's this catch-22. You have to work because you have to be able to provide for your children. But how are you going to work when you can't afford to pay the child care expenses?
Exactly.
And so then that's what you're talking about, in that you don't necessarily have the family members to fall back on.
Yes.
To help us, because people are working a lot longer these days. I'm a grandmother and I still work full time. I would like to be able to watch my grandson, but it's not something that I'm able to do full time. So I think it's really important for the listeners and the viewers to know what the numbers are and understand the impact when you are a single parent, that you have this massive chunk of your income that is going towards childcare expenses. So let's say on average, you know, we'll throw a number out there, you're making $50,000 a year and you have 1 or 2 children. On average, full-time childcare costs for an infant or toddler range between $12,000 to $15,000 a year.
Yes.
Times that by however many kids you have, and then deduct your housing, your health insurance, your car payment, your utilities, your food, all these basic essentials you have to have. It doesn't leave much. So, you know, again, Ford Foundation, we didn't really talk about this either, but we're developed to bridge the gap for those that are not eligible for services through the state, because on paper they're making too much money.
Yeah.
But then let's talk about the numbers, and you see it doesn't leave, you know, it doesn't leave much, if anything. And again, what do we need to do to put in place to allow them the resources and the tools that they need to get over that hurdle to become financially independent? And I think that's so important, that these things aren't really taught anymore. You don't learn these things in school, you know, the basics of managing a checkbook. I mean, you know, a lot of people are like, well, who uses a checkbook anymore? But you still have to manage your account and know how to balance.
Yes.
And we talk about this a lot too while we're talking about finances. I think this is really important, is that we don't have the ability to really touch money anymore. It's a card, it's a button.
Yes.
And so for children to not feel the pain of handing over dollars out of your wallet,
Out of
right?
pocket. They don't understand the value.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's, oh, we just click the button. They don't feel that. They don't understand the concept of money has to be earned, and there has to be money to back up that button and that card that you're swiping, right?
Yes.
And so that's, again, really important education with the financial literacy that we offer to our families, not just to the parents, but to the children as well, because they have to be taught, they have to understand. And it's important to be able to break that generational poverty.
Yes, it is. And I'm glad you talked about numbers, because when I was teaching my students in my Budget to Feed a Family workshop.
Yes, which is incredibly important.
Yes. And that workshop, when I was doing research and I was bringing up different like reports and stuff like that, I was able to see that in America, like the average income for like the median income, guys, of a single mom was about like $42,000 a year. That was the median income.
Yep.
And then when you compared it to that of a married family, a married couple, the median income was a little over $100,000. That's a big gap.
Huge gap.
A huge gap. And overall, about 36% made up single mom households in America. But then when you did it by nationality, 63% of single households were led by African American moms. 63%. That's more than half.
Yes.
So it's important to know those numbers. But I know that now with the pandemic, I guess the curse and the blessing, right, of the pandemic is that a lot has happened. It has caused a lot of disruption, right? But then it also has shed light on a lot of things. And with the pandemic, it has really allowed officials and government to really see the issues and the discrepancies and the problems when it comes to the accessibility. So, we have the Virginia Promise, which I'm a part of that advocacy initiative. So guys, please take the promise, because the promise is to make sure that by 2030, childcare is more affordable for moms. So the good news that we could share, and I could share as an advocate for your moms, is that, they have expanded the eligibility criteria for more moms to be able to qualify for assistance. So guys, that is something to look out for, because it's going to help so much. Because in the Budget to Feed a Family workshop, when I was breaking down the numbers like to the moms and stuff like that, and I was doing the numbers, I said to them, I said, hey guys, listen, I'm not accounting childcare, because even without accounting childcare, and I did the numbers for my moms, after paying all the bills, paying tithes, paying your rent, car note, student loans, just the average, utilities, that mom only had about $600 left. And then I had to show them how to take that $600 and take a portion of that to budget for food. And that did not account childcare. So I'm like, if there's a mom that happens to not even qualify, even with the expanded eligibility, how is she going to eat? Because after paying the regular bills, she was only left with $600. And childcare, even though we still are having a hard time and the numbers are distorted because, the cost it takes for us to actually run a quality childcare and what we're charging still doesn't equate to the costs. But it's still a lot for the parents, because the average rate for an infant is $300 a week.
A week, yes.
So she's left with $600 a month, and then she has an infant.
Right.
That's like what, $1,200 a month. So now she's in the red, $600 a month.
Right.
These are the real numbers, and these are the numbers we have to, put forth for people to really understand and know, like, assistance and help is needed.
100%. 100%.
Yes. So I love the fact that you guys, the biblical aspect, right? It's easy for us to feed people but what did Jesus do? And that's the principle that even my workshop is about, not just, feeding people, right? But what is it? We need to teach them how to fish.
That's right.
Not just feed them. Yes, he was able to feed the multitudes, but the best thing to do is to actually teach people how to fish.
And that's where that long-term sustainability is, right? Because if we continue to just provide, then when that runs out, what happens? Well, now what am I going to do?
Yes.
So if we can teach them how to fish, then they will have that long-term sustainability. And that's what's so important.
Yes. Wow. This is so good. So on that note, we're going to take a quick break and then we're going to come back because we could sit here all day, guys, because as you can see, both of us are really passionate about single moms, single dads. Let's not exclude the dads, and we're going to go more into what you do for the dads and actually even share your testimony when it comes to fathers when we come back from this break. Again, you guys are listening to the Williams-Bey Radio Show here on 101.3 Rejoice FM, and we'll be right back. Let's go. Hello, Rejoice listeners. This is Cynthia Williams-Bey of the Williams-Bey Radio Show. Be sure to tune in with me every Friday at 12 noon here on Rejoice 101.3, because it's Fighting Fridays and it's time for you to push through so God can restore you and spring you forth into your destiny.
Stars at night, the ocean roars to praise the light. Your glory shakes the earth. Flowers bloom and fields are green. Your beauty fills the scenery. You're clothed in majesty, and all of creation lives to sing of his praises. We lift our voice to worship our Savior forever. Oh, our Father, He is the Lord Almighty, King of the world, and He deserves all of the glory. You hold all power in your hands, the universe
right, guys, welcome back to the Williams-Bey Radio Show here on 101.3 Rejoice FM. I am your Destiny Pusher, Prophetess Cynthia Williams-Bey, and we are tuned back in with our wonderful guest, Andrea. Yes, I got it right because, guys, I'm always messing people's names up. I don't mean to. Okay. Yes, but please, guys, please make sure that you share this broadcast, okay? And then also let us know where you're tuned in from, okay, guys? Because we just appreciate all the support. And don't forget, again, to make sure that you sow into the show, because, again, we don't charge for all the wonderful guests that come and just bring so much value to just help you guys get to the place that God has destined for you. And you can do that via Cash App, $ Williams-Bey Radio Show. Again, that is $ Williams-Bey Radio Show. Now, without further ado, Andrea, we were talking about your wonderful organization, and we were talking about the dads. So please, because so many times, right, we talk about single mothers and the resources, but your organization, for a foundation, you actually service single dads as well. Can you tell the audience a little bit about that and share your testimony?
Yeah, so thank you for allowing us the opportunity to come on and talk about this. And Forward Foundation was very excited the end of 2021 to be able to open up our programmings to and resources and all of the things that our services that we offer to all single parents. Yes. And this was something that was really important to me because I was raised by a single father. And I was raised by a single father at a period of time that was pretty much unheard of. Yeah. And it was obviously life-altering for him, but life-altering for me as well. And I just think that it's really important that that's brought to the forefront, because we hear about single moms all the time. And yes, the majority of single parent-led households are led by single mothers. Yes. But there are a lot of single dads that are also carrying that weight as well and doing a fantastic job, and they still need support just like the moms do. And I think, what makes it different for the dads is that as women, we tend to be more open to sharing our feelings and sharing our hardships and looking for that opportunity to open up with others that are going through something similar. And for men, that's not typically the case. Yeah. And, for both men and women, many times pride is a factor as well, that typically for the families that we serve, they have never been in a situation where they've had to reach out and ask for help. Yes. Something has happened that has caused a change, and so now they need that help. But typically, prior to that has not been something that they've had to seek out. And so that's hard. And it's hard for women. It's even harder for men, because we know, we've all been raised with the stigma of, the man has, he's strong and he can handle things. And
mama's baby, daddy's maybe. No.
Right, right. But, when you are going through these types of challenges, you still need support, whether you're male or female. Yes. And for my father was a military officer. He was a strong man, and but something happened, and now he's having to care full time for his 2 younger children. And what that meant for me, being the oldest sibling of the 2 that were left at home, is that my dreams, because when this all happened, I was 15. Oh wow. And that was legally, he became single father, but for many years prior to that, it was already in that role. But in any case, that meant that my dreams of moving away and going to college and pursuing my career was put on hold, because I needed to help care for my younger brother. And so I share that because it's important to understand that when these challenges hit, it impacts not just the parents, it impacts the child or the children as well. And again, what do we need to know ahead of time to have resources available to them that are going to be helpful to get them, like I talked about earlier, over this hurdle?
Yes.
And for single dads, again, they're not necessarily looking for an opportunity to sit down and share what's going on.
Yes.
But the challenges that they're facing are still financial. And, how are they going to continue to cover all of the expenses that had in the past been, combined and split between their partner? And then the other challenges that they're going to face as a single parent. So just think about, my dad, single dad to a teenage daughter, and all of those,
PMS and
all
everything.
of it, exactly,
yes.
all of those things. And so, are they comfortable having the conversation on their own, or are they going to be more comfortable having someone they trust to look towards and say, "Will you help me with this?"
Yes.
Even things like fixing hair, or
going out to the restaurant, your baby has to use the bathroom,
all of these kinds of things that we take for granted. And then for the mom as well, if she's raising sons, maybe some of those typical conversations that dad usually would have is now up to mom, and how do I address these things? So it's those kinds of deeper challenges that we want to delve into, that how do we offer them that support when they're trying to maneuver through this period of time. And so what we have found in talking to dads and putting together an advisory committee of single dads is exactly that. What are the biggest challenges that you have faced? And those conversations, or shopping for, if they're going through that period of time of the month and dad needs to go to the store and get some of those things. Yes. And for us, we don't think about it, but for dads, it's, and many, it's not a big deal, but for some, it's like, what do I do? I don't know what I'm supposed to look for. Yes. So it's really thinking about what are some of those deeper things that are going to happen that could potentially be challenging for them to navigate. And so putting together events that, and I say event, I mean a get together, whether it's a dinner or it's a Top Golf or it's throwing axes, just an
that was a great event, by the way. My staff loved that. And
it was an opportunity to say, hey, we're not bringing you in here to sit down and try to convince you to seek help. But what we are doing is this is an opportunity to just get together with some other fathers that are going through some similar things. Circumstances. Like a safe space. It's exactly what it is. It's a safe space to come together. If an organic conversation opens up, that's fantastic. But if it doesn't, it's an opportunity for you can come with your child, you can come without your child. Yes. But we want to be able to offer the childcare component because we don't want to leave anybody out that maybe would like to participate but can't, because many times they don't have anyone to watch their kids. And so that's another challenge. Talking about that and what does that mean for you, and what are those safe spaces, and who are those safe people that you can go to for backup if you need to, when you are saying, okay, I just encountered this, what do I do? And being able to have a community of others that are going through something similar that you can share those conversations with, and figuring out really what are the biggest needs and challenges that they're having, and how do we provide those resources to them? Yes.
Well, one nugget I can give you guys, right, in regards to the dads, because we were just talking about when you're raising the girls and your dad. Yes. So they have something called the period box. Mm-hmm. It's a subscription box that you guys can get, because I know even going to the store for your wives, you know, prior to being single with your girlfriends. Like, guys don't like going to the store to get that stuff. So, guys, it's called a period box. You can Google it, and it's a subscription that actually will come monthly. And it's like so cute. I did it for my girls, and it comes and it has like the tampons and it has like an inspirational leather, and I think it has like chocolates or something or some type of treats. But
that's
it's like really cool. Yes, it's important too. But that's one nugget I could put. But even when Miss Tiffany did her single parent, what was it, a breakfast lunch?
Yes.
And you guys had sponsored.
Yes.
We did have a single dad
that
was in the house, and his daughter was able to come into the room with us. She was a little older, but just having that availability to be able to come to an event and then not have to worry about. So that's the other way that, you know, Heaven Sent Childcare, we partner with Ford Foundation. And I think hers is the Single Moms Club, Miss Tiffany Singles Mom Club. That's the other thing that we do. So if you're an event host and you're having different events and you find that your followers, your supporters, they have parents, and you're hearing people say, I would love to come, but I don't have childcare. Well, guess what? Heaven Sent Childcare will come to you, and we actually provide on-site childcare so that way you're able to get poured into, you know, as a mom, as a dad, you know, because that's like really, really important. And then the other important thing too with this community that I love is that you're educating the dad, because also we tend to think again of just moms, but dads have to protect their kids against predators as well.
That's right.
It's not just men, you know, that abuse when we think about like moms dating. Like, you know, I was just talking to my mentee. I'm gonna shout her out. She's gonna get excited, Miss Destiny Brooks. My little spiritual daughter. But I was just telling, you know, her, like, you have to be careful, you know, even as a teen, like when you're engaging and talking with people, you just never know who people are. You know, I don't care what title they have or anything like that. You have to be careful. And there's also women that traffic children, and you would think the person is just great and you get an online presence of them, but you don't know who those people are when they log off. So our men, you guys have to protect your children too, and be very careful of women as well, because there's women that molest as well. You know, there's women in jail now for like murder and rape and things like that. Is some very disturbed, you know, people. So we have to, you know, help our dads out too, that's raising sons and daughters also.
Yeah. And, you know, think about if they're, you know, when their partner was with them, again, there's shared responsibilities, right? And many times women take over that role of having those conversations or teaching those things just because it's typically what, you know, the mom does. And then when the mom is out of the picture, and now dad, you know, we talked about kind of moms being able to navigate and figure out challenges that typically their husbands had handled, and now they have to figure out. Same thing for the dads. They now have to figure out how to do all the things that mom was doing.
Yes.
And sometimes it's things that aren't, you know, it's not going to be top of mind for them.
Yes.
You know, how to fix their hair or wash their hair, or how if they're, you know, if they're having in the middle of their period that month and they're hormonal and they're emotional and dealing with that kind of thing. It's these simple day-to-day things that we just take for granted that they need the support for that too. And we want to make sure that we offer that. And one of the things that our advisory committee of single dads came up with is really navigating tough conversations.
Yeah.
And again, it's eye-opening to hear from their perspective. I mean, even though my dad was a single dad and I was helping with my brother, I never really thought about what he might be feeling or the challenges that it was just always about dad's working and dad's, you know, he's covering the bills and you're gonna have a house and you're gonna have food, but you're not thinking about those day-to-day things of what do I need to do to help prepare my child, or even more importantly, what do I need to do if there's trauma that my child has endured through loss of a parent or through a divorce or through abuse or all of the things that contribute to that? What do I need to have in place to be able to make sure that they're okay and that they feel that they have a place, a safe space to be able to talk about and for us to communicate effectively with one another? These are the things that we don't always think about, right? And these are very, very important for the long-term emotional stability of the parent and the child. And so that emotional wellness piece is really important as well, and being able to offer like family coaching for co-parenting or dealing with trauma or abuse, that there is a resource that is going to be available to them. Yes. So that's part of really honing in on some of the challenges that dads are facing and how we can be of support to them as well.
So as far as your organization, I know that you guys are based here in Virginia, but if we have like a family, a single dad or a single mom that's out of the Virginia area, can they connect with Forward Foundation as well, even being out of the state? Like, how can they connect? What advice can you give them if they're a new single parent trying to navigate, this new reality? Kind of like me. That's why I share my journey, because we're going through this together.
Yes.
So what is one of the advice that you can give them when it comes to just being in this new space? Some of the things, like maybe 3 things or 2 things they can do
to reach out to find resources.
Yeah.
So anybody is always available, always able to call us, and we will certainly help to, depending on where they are, to try to guide with resources. And we may not know the exact resources in your particular area, but we can certainly say, this would be the number that you would call if you were in Virginia. So you want to look and see if this particular organization is a national organization that you would be available to contact in your area. Yes. But the biggest things that you want to be able to look for is if you are going through some type of trauma, whether it is domestic violence or whether it is loss of a spouse due to illness or an accident, there are national organizations everywhere that you can contact for domestic violence abuse. There are hotlines and for grieving. And I would highly encourage that you find out what they are. We're so lucky now with technology that we can Google this, and you Google it in your area. Support for loss of a parent. There are camps for kids. Here in Virginia, we have, oh gosh, now I'm going to forget.
I know
the name
camp
of it.
You are talking about, and I can't get the name.
But it's specifically for
grieving,
for children
kids
who have lost a parent. Exactly. And so there are lots of resources out there. And if you're not in Virginia, the first thing I would say is Google that. But if you still want to reach out and call us, you absolutely can. You can reach us on our, via our webpage, which is forwardfoundationva.org. It's important that you have the VA on there for Virginia, because there are other Forward Foundation organizations.
Yes.
And then we're also on social media, so Instagram and LinkedIn and Facebook, but easily accessible, a phone call away. And we have an amazing program director who has had years and years of social work background that is a plethora of resources. And so she would always be available to help and say, she's not going to call for you, but she can share places that you might be able to call.
Yes.
So I think that would be you can even contact, here in Virginia, we have the Virginia Child Care Association. Yes. Which will provide a list of child care facilities, right? It's a directory, and that type of thing should be available, I would think, in other areas as well. So childcare, mental health awareness, access to support for grieving, and then access to support for domestic violence if that has been an issue. And yes, men suffer from domestic violence as well. They do. So don't forget about that. And there is support available. Great support.
Yes, it is. Wow. This is really great. And again, yes, any state that you're in, the Department of Social Services,
yes,
you're able to go, and it lists like the child care and things like that. But, just myself going through that process, yes, it took some time for me to actually go because, with my story, guys, I was like pregnant. So I was just being really careful in regards to going to, get counseling too soon because you have to make sure you're in a space first, because when you lose a spouse or lose a loved one, you don't want to rush. You want to take some time to actually even come to grips of this new reality, right? So it took me some time because I wanted to make sure, one, that the baby was able to be healthy and I didn't overstress myself. I didn't want to be too overwhelmed. And for me and the way that God wired me and my gift, I easily pick up people's burden. So that was the other thing. I didn't want to, get into an environment where it's like I'm grieving my loss and now I picked up the burden of this other person, because that's just, how God innately made me. But once I was able to really understand, okay, I really lost my husband and I'm pregnant, once I was able to come to grips with that, then I got to the point where it's just like, okay, now I'm ready to talk and be around others. And then me and the kids did group. I personally would recommend when you have children to do it as a group first, opposed to individual. That worked. But again, you have to go with what works for you. But that worked really well because it was like me and the kids was able to do that together. And we did activities and we did Full Circle. So hello and shout out to Full Circle. They're really great, and they're a nonprofit as well. The work that they're doing with helping families dealing with grief and trauma. But they did some amazing activities. We did family activities, and then we broke up into groups, and it was just really good. It was really, really good. And then being in the room with other people that have been, not necessarily everybody was grieving a spouse, but some grieve loss of a child or a parent. But it was just that is one thing that we all can relate to when it comes to grief. It doesn't discriminate with anybody, so it's really good to kind of get in that environment. So again, that you can see that you're not the only one, dealing with it. So I would, definitely recommend that. Well, can you tell everyone how they can continue to support? How can they sow? Because guys, please sow into this foundation. It is definitely good ground, even prior to me actually, having, or becoming a widow, just being a part of the organization was just a blessing. And now that I'm a widow, it's still blessing me, just having her as a friend and just knowing the work that she's doing. So please make sure that you sow into the organization, support the organization. Can you tell them how they can do that, how they can find you on social media and support you?
Yes, thank you. So again, you can Google us, and our webpage is forwardfoundationva.org. We are also on Instagram, Forward Foundation, and Facebook, LinkedIn. We have a lot of followers on our LinkedIn page. And these are great ways to connect with the organization with some of the behind the scenes that is going on, because we do a lot of posts about us out and about in the community, our community partners. We do Q&As with our parents, to understand what it is that they're going through and what's helpful. So it's not just, that following us and liking us and connecting with us are really important, but it's also really helpful to get a deeper understanding of the backstory and my story, my personal story, and the stories of our families. So those are all the different ways you can connect with us. And, we're a nonprofit, so we rely on donations to keep our doors open, but there's also lots of opportunities to get involved. So for businesses that, want to share us as a resource for their employees, that's very important. Awareness is key. And so the more people that know about us and are talking about us and sharing our information with others and keeping us in mind if there's someone that they know that might be in need, all of that is helpful and continues to allow the organization to grow and evolve and our programs to increase. I want to share too that we were presented with a incredibly kind and generous donation match. We have until the end of 2023 to fulfill this match. We were given $100,000 challenge match. So for every donation we receive up to $100,000, it's going to be matched dollar for dollar.
Wow.
So I share that because what that would do for Forward Foundation would be immeasurable. It would allow us to at least double the families that we are currently serving, to increase the child care subsidy that we offer, and to be able to bring in more partners and continue to reach larger areas. We talked a few minutes ago about people that maybe aren't in Virginia. Our goal is that eventually we will be a nationwide organization.
Yes.
And that there would be a Forward Foundation in everybody's state throughout the country. And opportunities like this are what we need to be able to make that happen.
Yes.
So I wanted to be able to share that. You can donate through the webpage. You can donate, there are links through our Facebook page and our LinkedIn page, but easiest would be through the webpage. You can sign up to volunteer through the webpage. You can sign up to inquire about services through the webpage, and you can sign up to just receive our newsletter on our webpage too. So lots of different ways that I would highly encourage for people to get involved and share the work that Forward Foundation is doing and allow us the opportunity to be able to expand our programming into more areas and more families.
Oh, wow. That is great. And I challenge anybody that can to please sow $100 seed. Like, go to the website right now, Forward Foundation, and sow $100 seed. Because what this guy do, he gives seed to the sower. And I'm telling you, your seed is going to go beyond your house and bless single mothers and single fathers in the community and beyond. The work that they're doing is really great. Me as a widow, I'm telling you, it's good ground. Please go and support this organization. So anybody that has it, stretch yourself, put that seed in the ground and support them. They're doing just such a great work. I'm just so thankful for you. I'm just thankful for the organization and your entire board and just what you guys are just doing in the community, and just really just, picking up the burden and helping, the single moms and single dads. And I love that, you guys are not just doing it alone, but you're actually partnering. You're partnering with other organizations in the community because, it's not just about us. It's like a bigger mission.
It is. That's the key. I mean, we are all a piece of the puzzle. Every single one of us. And don't ever think that your piece doesn't make an impact. Because we can't do what we do without all of the pieces.
Yes.
And the partners are critical. Being able to collaborate with you and being able to provide childcare at our events is huge. We're, our audience and our clientele is single parents. We want them to be able to come. And so in order to do that, they need to have reliable, safe childcare. And our educational partners that teach our workshops and the businesses that support us, everybody is a piece of the puzzle, and we couldn't do what we're doing without each and every one of you. So I am eternally grateful for having met you and all of the work that you are doing within the community as well. So thank you.
Yes, thank you. And that's what we're all about here on the Listen, this is a whole ministry itself, guys. We're doing ministry different. It's not the traditional, service. Like, it's really highlighting God's people that he's having in the marketplace beyond the four walls of the church, that's really actually doing kingdom work. It is a kingdom work that you're doing, even if you don't know that you're doing kingdom work, and just major things to support to even all your sponsors and your different partners in the community, just really, really, really great. Really, really great. So thank you so much, Andrea.
Yay!
Yes, I got her name right, for just coming on and just blessing us. Just thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. So that wraps up today, guys. Just thank you guys so much again for just tuning into the show. And please, if you feel led, I'm just challenging you guys to just put a seed in the ground, support her organization, just for the great work they are doing. And again, you can go to the Ford Foundation, go to their website. I'm also going to make sure that I post on the page the actual camp for the kids, so be on the look out for that. I'm gonna actually post the page of that camp for kids dealing with grief. It's a really great camp because the moms or dads and the kids, you can actually do it together. But guys, just thank you guys again so much for tuning into the show. And again, please make sure that you even sow a seed into this ground. You can do so via Cash App. That's $ Williams-Bey Radio Show. Again, Cash App $ Williams-Bey Radio Show. And again, I am your destiny pusher, Prophetess Cynthia Williams-Bey. And I will see you guys on next Friday, so that way you guys can continue to push forward, so that way God can restore you and push you forward into your destiny. I love you guys and see you next week. Thank you for tuning in to the Williams-Bey Radio Show here on Rejoice 101.3. To be a guest or to become a partner of our show, please be sure to email me at cindy@bayradioshow.com. To stay up to date with us and to catch the replay, visit us at www.bayradioshow.com. And don't forget to follow us on all social media platforms at Bey Radio Show. And again, this is your destiny pusher, Mrs. Cynthia Williams-Bey, and I need you to meet me back next Friday at the same time so that God can restore you and spring you forth into your destiny.